everyone, I'm Mary Kesler, coordinator of themed tours here at Thomas Jefferson's Poplar Forest. Usually for Mother's Day, we have a signature tour, The Women of Poplar Forest. Well, this year we're bringing it to you in a series of videos, so check our Facebook page for each one of these. The first lady that we're going to talk about that was here at Poplar Forest was Mrs. Thomas Jefferson. Martha Wales Skelton when Jefferson first met her. There are no known images of Martha, but she was described as petite, beautiful, graceful, and musical. Music played a big part in the lives of Martha and Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson was courting Martha, there's a story about two suitors who showed up at Martha's door. They listened, and there's music coming from inside. And so they stayed out and they listened for a few minutes, and it was Martha playing the harpsichord and Jefferson playing the violin. Well, these two suitors realized that that was beautiful harmony, and so they just turned tail and left. And then on January the 1st, 1772, Martha became Mrs. Thomas Jefferson. And eventually, after the festivities, they went back to Monticello to live. But a year after they were married, Martha's father died, and he left them 13,000 acres of land in Virginia, 135 enslaved individuals. This made Jefferson a very wealthy landowner and one of the largest slave owners in the state. And of course, Poplar Forest was included in those 13,000 acres. Now, at that time, there were only 2 overseers' cabins and slave cabins on the whole property. And it pretty much stayed that configuration for quite a while. But it was 10 years after they were married that the Revolutionary War was still going on, and Jefferson was the governor of Virginia. He had also penned the Declaration of Independence. So the British were advancing on Monticello. Jefferson would have been a really good prize if they could have captured him. So Jefferson left, brought his family here to Poplar Forest to safety. Now, we don't know a whole lot about Martha's time here, but she had 2 small children to take care of. She had their daughter, Martha, who was age 9, and Maria, who was 3 years old. That was the only time that Martha was ever here on the property. They stayed in a simple overseer's cabin that had been vacant, so we can imagine maybe Martha had to do the cooking, cleaning, and just take care of everything that you have to do to survive when you're in a place secluded like this. Well, eventually they did get back to Monticello, and about a year after their return, Martha gave birth to their 6th child that they named Lucy Elizabeth. Martha was sick all summer long. Jefferson described that summer to a friend. The state of dreadful suspense in which I had been kept all summer, and the catastrophe which closed it. A single event wiped away all my plans and left me a blank which I had not the spirit to fill up. The granddaughters could describe Martha as someone who was very attractive, a very attractive person, and my grandfather was tenderly attached to her. She commanded his respect by her good sense and domestic virtues. There are only 4 documents of Mrs. Jefferson's that remain, and I can just imagine the granddaughters looking through these documents and finding their favorite thing in them. One of them was her receipt book. Actually, that's what they called recipes, that was written in a stiff Italian hand. I'm not sure what a stiff Italian hand is, but that's the way her recipes were written. There was also her book of family expenses. Maybe it was modeled after Jefferson's memorandum book, where he kept track of all of his expenses. And then there was her manuscript of music, the ones that she had copied. And these music manuscripts were said to be free from blot. And then there was part of a poem that she had written. It was special to her and to Jefferson, and she was copying out that summer when she was so ill. And it resides today at the Library of Congress. You can see Martha's faint handwriting at the top, and then the bold handwriting toward the bottom, that's Jefferson's when Martha became too ill to finish it. This poem came from Tristram Shandy. Time wastes too fast. Every letter I trace tells me with what rapidity life follows my pen. The days and hours of it are flying over our heads like clouds of windy day, never to return more. Everything presses on, and then Jefferson picks up the pen. And every time I kiss thy hand to bid adieu, every absence which follows it are preludes to that eternal separation which we are shortly to make. Martha died September the 6th, 1782, just shy of her 34th birthday.